Howard. I'm an artist. I'm born and raised here in Dayton, Ohio. This is Brittini Long, who partnered with me on this project. I'm real grateful to be here, really humbled, and really glad to be here. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Dean. Literally, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, because he poured the information. Also, when I returned back to Dayton, I left here in '86, and I didn't live here again until 2015, when my mother took ill, and I moved back here, and I was a little down in the dumps, with mom being sick and everything, and I went and talked with Dean, and he said, glad to have you back, let's get to work. And basically, he's involved me in things ever since, and I really appreciate that, because that's what's got me going. I live on Salem and Princeton, right at the corner of Salem and Princeton, in this big apartment building. And every time I would go down to the intersection of Salem and Catalpa, and I would look over, the first thing I saw the building, because I looked and I saw that Zapp, when I saw that word Zapp painted on the building, and to me it always looked like it's, even though I love looking at it, it always seemed like it was something missing. But anyway, I looked to the right where the sculpture is, and I don't know, I just got to thinking, and I just said, I started driving around, and I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything about the about the Ohio players. I didn't see anything about Fazeo or any other things about Zapp or Lakeside or anything. And so I just got an idea, and I'm not the first person to have the idea, obviously, but I wanted to do it in my style, my way. And luckily for me, my brother works with Keith Harrison from Fazeo. And so I started talking with him, and as soon as I mentioned it to him, he was on board. And so he became our musical consultant for this project. I approached Brittini Long. Brittni is with the juvenile court system. She has a program called HAALO, which involves at-risk kids. And we got together. As soon as I told her about it, she had to jump through some hoops, and I'm really appreciative, because she went through a lot to help me on this project. And let me say, I'm not an isolationist, but I work by myself, and I've never had to work with anybody before. And I'm telling you, that was challenging, because I have, and that's the only thing I've ever had in my life that my mother gave me autonomy over from the very start. And so it's, I've been in, obviously, I've been in exhibits with Bing, I've been in, and all the artists here at Dayton, and I've been in other exhibits across the country, but this is my stuff, they got their stuff, but I never had a collaboration where people are playing things, and, and we're gonna all be in this together. I'm like, wait a minute, and so, and I came out one day, and that might have been the day I came out, and I looked at those kids, and I was like, it's gonna be all right, you know what I mean? And so I had to let go, and I let go. We have Simeon Oyemi back here, and he helped me on this project as well, him and another artist named Camille Viney. And what's the young lady that we had? Josie. And then we had some volunteer artists, and some people helping us. And it's been a lifelong process. I'll say, since the time I was a teenager, and I love the music. And for me to be in a position where I would be, interacting with Keith Harrison, and coming into contact with some of the people who were involved in making this music, it's really been something, because I was in the Navy, and the conversations would come up because, you know, people would say, you know, yeah, well, you know, Lakeside is from New Jersey. I was like, wrong. Dayton, Ohio. They got the name from amusement park, Lakeside. So, and they was like, you know, so every time they would bring somebody up, Heatwave, Dayton,
Right.
Slave, Dayton, you know. And, you know, so we would get into these things. It was a lot of fun, but as I began to think about it, once I got here and I began to think of the concept of a mural, all of those things came into play. Initially, we were going to propose for the Patterson side of the overpass, and the city, as a matter of fact, let me back up. Back in November, I was discussing this with a gentleman named Jason Antonin, and he said, Morris, I really think it would be a good idea if you brought that mural out to Stone Street, because by then I had received a grant from Culture Works to get started. And so when Brittni and I met with the city in January, they proposed the same thing without us even having to tell them. And so I didn't even bring it up to them, and they proposed the same thing. And I said, well, maybe this is what's supposed to happen. And so it went from the 7 panels just for the 7 bands that I chose to 21 panels down a whole street. And so, which became really challenging. And when I went and first looked at the wall, like I just looked at it one day, like by myself, and I just was like, man, what have I gotten myself into? But panel by panel, you know, it came into being, and we had some wonderful experiences with these kids, and those are volunteers from Synchrony who came down. They were like they were the first group of people with the kids to touch any paint going on the walls. And so over time, you know, it's really come along. It's been a great experience. It's my expectations. It's met them and beyond. And all I wanted to do was to do justice to the people who did so much for us, you know, and with their musical talent, which is obviously spread all over the world. And you know, if I could just get people to quit thinking Ohio players is just Sugarfoot, because that's what Sugarfoot, you know, and you know, and it was a proud time. It was a good time to be from Dayton. It was a good time. It was a time you could just stick your chest out, you know, and just be real proud that you were from here, you know. This is my way of expressing my gratitude. This is my way of saying what I want to say, and I don't, because you know I like to talk to people that I like to talk to, but I'm not a big talker. And so and I'm paraphrasing Charles White. You know, when he talked about the struggle of black folks, he said if I could sing about it, I would sing about it. If I could, you know, if I could dance or perform, I would perform about it. But he says I'm an artist, so I'll paint about it, and that's what I'm trying to do. You know, again, I want to thank Bean for his wisdom. He was behind the scenes when I first came and talked about this project. You know, you can't just sit back on the sideline. If you want something done, if you want to you want something said, you have to say it yourself, you know, in your own way. And they said it musically, I'm saying it through the visual arts, because this is what I do. I've been doing this all my life, and to come back here and to be able to have an impact in the arts has been really good for me, and for my family. I wish my mother was here to see it. But, you know, I know she's watching over me. But I just wanted to express that this idea just didn't come overnight. You know, it's really been an idea in the making for the past 40 plus years. You know, it just started coming into fruition, but it has been a long time of just loving the music, and just when I listen to it now, when we were listening to Just a Touch of Love, when we were having breakfast this morning from Slave, I mean, that's just such a beautiful song, and it's like so peaceful, you know, and it's like and I'm not going to go into a tirade about the music of today. I'm not getting into that. All I'm going to say is that I think about the times that I grew up in, and it's not like the times weren't turbulent, because in 1975, I'll never forget this, Dayton was the murder capital of the United States. Per its population, I'll never forget that. But the music didn't reflect that. The music reflected peace, fun, you know, happiness, joy, you know. Even though the Ohio Players wrote the song about pain, I never felt like I was in pain. I always felt like it was, the song is such a monumental, like those horns, man. And it's like, it's like, it's nothing like it. And I want to say this too, and I'll let Brittni say something if she wants to. None of the bands sounded like it. And I was talking with this about Simeon last night. All of the bands have their own distinct size, their own distinct sound. And you know, and I would think that there would be like some similarities because of the proximity of the groups, but there's not. Not to me anyway. You know, everybody's, because when I hear Slave, I know that's Slave. I don't get confused and think that's the Ohio Players. I know that's Slave. When I hear Fazeo, I know that's Fazeo. You know, when I hear Son, I know it's Son. I mean, and we can go on down to, you know, to with Zapp and everyone else. I mean, Lakeside to me, and I can't reflect all my feelings about what I feel about each group into the art. I hope that I reflected a good feeling, but Lakeside to me is so underrated, and you know, I don't get it, and I would certainly hope that Dayton will start to capitalize on its rich funk history, and really put this at the forefront to attract people to come, because people will come. I believe that. I believe that. Because I lived in Memphis, and one thing about Memphis, they capitalize on their music, culture, and history. Stax Records, they, you know, the blues, they, you know, their gospel roots, they capitalize on all of that. And I think that they should do the same thing. I mean, I just really think that would be a really, really good idea. And I think it's an idea that whose time has actually come. And I think because it just seems like the stars are starting to align, you know, with the Symposium, you know, with you know, Bing's exhibit, with, you know, the Funk Mural, with the Funk Museum. You know, I mean, there's things that are lining up, and I certainly would like to see that. And so we have people come down, take pictures every day, so they love it. But that's all I've really got, and about Brittni to come up.
Well, I think, you know, Morris said it all. I just wanted to add a couple cool tidbits to some of these pictures. The Zapp and Roger panel, I actually have a great nephew, Troutman kid in my program. Hi, Laura. I have a Troutman young man in our program, so he was able to paint the panel, which was just, really, really cool process. And Morris, for him to trust us and to trust these kids who are not necessarily artists to execute this for him was really an honor. And it was, working with the kids, it's about connecting them back to their community. And if any of you guys were at the dedication on Monday, I talked a lot about that. But the kids, the music they listen to today uses the riffs, the beats, and the inspiration that came from this funk music. So it was just really important to connect them back to the history in their own community. So I really hope this is the beginning of something wonderful. I will say I had a couple people seriously take note of Keith's request to rename Stone Street the Land of Funk, and it's my understanding that 2 emails have already been sent to the appropriate people at the city to try to get that process started. So ideally, we're going to continue to push that, and hopefully if we can get it renamed, have a celebration out there annually, so that we can celebrate the contributions of the funk musicians and just keep people talking. I think the more we educate everybody and everybody knows this, that we can continue these conversations and really give proper credit to the artists that created this for us in Dayton. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions?
I just want to say what's come out to me too in the process of hearing these presentations and looking at the slides is that we have 3 fantastic organizations in this city that have supported this project. Culture Works, which supports all the arts in Dayton, the Schuster Center, which is one of the finest performing arts centers in the United States, acoustically proven that it to be, and the Victoria Theater Association. So anything you can do to support these organizations helps things like this happen in Dayton, and I really appreciate it. We'll take some time for a little discussion, Q&A. Now's your chance.
Yeah, can you get a question, please? The last time I arrived in Dayton, Ohio was 1986 to work with Roger Troutman and Zapp. And when I walked off the plane this time, I was greeted with the same carpet on the foyer and a very drab and dour welcoming from the airport. Can I suggest that one of the projects would be that we have a nice Afro-American coloured carpet as soon as you come off the plane, and on the walls, the first thing that anyone sees is all the bands that have come out of Dayton, adorning them as they walk right through and out the airport. But it has to happen. Not at the doorway or at the outside or anything like that, but actually the first impression that people get again is, this is the land of funk. But it has to be done, maybe we can suggest with the young people, and the Morris's supervision again is another project, but it has to happen as soon as you come off the plane. Brand new colours, carpet, maybe even some of the designs that the students have done, and adorned with all the bands, some of those that have not had recognition even here today, so that people are aware and can ask questions before they even get out of the airport. That's my wish.
Love it. It's a great idea. Great idea.
Question, comment, yes.
I just want to thank you for the work you've done. Once I was at your studio and I was able to meet Jim Brown, and it was a big highlight for me. As I'm not from Dayton, I moved here from DC, and I'm excited about the DC portion of today also.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
I was wondering whether any of the at-risk youth that were in the project then have transitioned to continue visual art.
Yes, so actually we have a program that goes on year-round. So it starts back next Thursday, and they'll be with me on Thursday evenings. We have a 2-hour class that we do throughout the year, and then they hone their skills throughout the year so that in the summer, when we go out into the public to do these murals, they have what they need to give back. I will, just to add to that, I have a couple that are really good artists in this group, but the majority of them probably will not pursue that as a career, so to speak. But they really learned a lot of more valuable, deeper cores, like reporting on time to a job, responsibility, overcoming obstacles. When you're looking at those paintings, those colors start to cross, and it can be very challenging. And that's the cool thing about art, is that they were able to make mistakes and learn from them. So those are the things that they're going to translate into their everyday lives. But I do have, I think out of the 15 we had over the summer, we have 7 of them coming back to class next week. So.
And I might add too that Brittni last summer identified, last 2 summers, a couple of young people and actually sponsored them to come and work at our summer camp with youth. The young lady from Fairmont
Yes.
did
yes.
2 sessions with us. And then there's 2 young men that she identified last year that were exceptional. And the little fellow,
Damon, he's amazing. He's still doing lots of art.
actually was in the 10 to 12-year-old group that was so good artistically that James Pate and Brittni recommended. We put him right in with the teenagers, and he excelled. And matter of fact, we've gone to his detention area since, and have still been in communication with him. And the one the young man from Senegal, Lamine, unfortunately also had equal talent, and we're looking to find him again because he also has a lot of potential. But we have found a way to be able to continue that. But what she was alluding to is most important. We view, and I have since 1960, looked at arts as agents of change. So we're not concerned if they become an artist, but just better people.
I just wanted to expand on that also. I'm traditional, well, I graduated from Central State, so I'm officially oil painter. But unofficially, I've been doing graffiti since elementary school. And that's in New York on the trains, and Atlanta getting kicked out and all types of stuff back then. But last summer, I worked at the juvenile detention with the youth. And during the school, last school year, I worked with them through a program called Sunlight Village. And then during the summer, I started teaching at K-12 Tejas this summer, and some of the kids that I saw inside the juvenile detention actually popped up at K-12 this summer. So they do, if they're inspired by it, I have seen some transitions where, I mean, this was like one of the baddest kids in his unit when we got there, and when I would meet with him every Saturday, and he wouldn't draw. He would just sit there, try and grab a piece of paper, come sit down, draw me this. I'm like, no, you gotta draw it yourself. No, well, why don't you just do it this way, draw it for me. So this summer, I went inside K-12 and he was sitting there.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and that like gave me a good feeling, because he wouldn't pick up a pencil, but he always came and sat down. You know what I mean? But inside the joint, he didn't want to look or lose his credit. You know what I mean? So after that, when he got out, now he can go back and try and sneak and do what he wants to do.
We'll keep building on that.
Very good.
Anybody else?
Well, yes, sir.
I'd like to make one more comment. I've been, for a couple of years, one of the grant reviewers for Culture Works. One of our clients is Tejas. And I've not seen visual art, but I've been to Tejas and seen Brittni's clients with their literature art, doing reflections on things in their lives, and it's powerful. That's the essence of Dayton. That's the essence of Dayton.
Amen.
Very much so, very much so. And it's a primary reason that we're involved in the arts and community, is that we know that it can be agents of change. And that the other aspect of it, since 1960, there's 5 things that happen when you provide artistic and creative experiences for young people, it underscores everything we do and everything I've done. The 5 things that occur when you design a good quality dance, drama, spoken word activity is critical thinking, creative problem solving, instrumental behavior to solve a problem that's high use of the imagination, assessment and evaluation is occurring all the time. The 5, those are what we're working on. We happen to be using art to do it. But if a young person can increase those skills and ability, whatever they choose to put their life to, they're going to be successful at. So that's the undergirding that's there that allows us to say art, music, dance, drama. And they're all interconnected. Art, music, dance, drama. And that we're trying to help put back in a critical missing piece. And that's the rites of passage to going from childhood to adulthood. We want to use the arts to help to make that transition. Going from childhood to adulthood to being a productive citizen. So we do it under the guise of art and music and dance, but it's the youth and our community that is critical. And thank you for reading those things, and we hope to do even more. And for us here in the Miami Valley area, is how do we make this more inclusive? Because we know certain arts are going to always be supported. Ballet, symphony, opera, but there's some other art forms and also needs the nurturing and support.
Amen.
I'm also going to be, well, I'll be leaving here about 1:20 because I still teach at the detention center, juvenile detention center downtown. And the other day when we had our dedication, some of the kids that I had that have gotten out, they rolled into the dedication. And it's not a one-time thing because see what I had to do was lower my expectations of what they should be doing, and just that I deal with them moment by moment, day by day, and with the hope that some of the things that I talk with them about, because one of the things I do when I go and teach every class, I don't have to pick anybody to draw now because I've been drawing people and the word has got around, so that's what they,
Now they all
that's,
wait on
that,
Mr.
they all
Morris.
want that. But what it gives me an opportunity to do, they sit right in front of me, and it gives me an opportunity to talk with them and to look them in the eye and to say, because I ask them questions, who's the oldest? Who's the oldest in your family? How many siblings you have? And if they tell me they're the oldest, then they're in a lot of trouble because I say, you're the leader of your family. And your brothers and sisters are looking up to you and they're expecting something bigger out of you. I'm expecting something out of you. I talk to kids, they got kids. They're 16 and 17. I got a 14-year-old in one of the facilities I teach with. He's 14, he has a kid. And so, this is more than art. It's life. And I said, you don't have to be an artist. I said, what I'm trying to impart on you, I want you to understand that this is about making choices. And see, I made bad choices when I was young. So I understand. I made some terrible choices. But there was people that believed in me, and I just try to let them know I believe in you. And so it's gratifying when I see them and I get respect from them, because that's all that I really want from them, and for them to do something with their life.
I raised my hand. One of the other things that happened with the HAALO students is that Shirley brings them down to our exhibit, and so we'll meet them like in February down at the Schuster Center in the exhibit, and just have just the young people there. But they're always surprised too. And I said, I remember when the juvenile judge said, Big Davis, if you come downtown again before you're 21, I'm sending you away till you're 21. But we all have been.
I heard that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
but I've been very fortunate. I just turned 81, and just be able to be around this getting it on. And knowing that they're gonna continue to work with community and share their gift. Because it's more than just having it for yourself.
That's right.
That you can't share if you ain't got it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Amen. That's it. Thank you guys so much.
I'd like to make a comment. It's really hard for me to sit here and contain myself. I'm a former Daytonian. My name is Len Pringle.
Hey, man.
And I graduated from University of Dayton almost 40 years ago. So I'm excited to be here. I wanted to say that I've been watching this movement from Los Angeles for about 4 years now. And I've been in the music industry. We had a band here back in the early 70s, and we didn't become as successful as all the other local groups here. But I had the pleasure of playing with a gentleman who is my lead guitarist, P.C. Carver. A lot of people might know him. And of course, Stan had a band back in the day too. And I was able to link up with him just about a year ago. Okay, my point basically is I've been in the record industry for a long time, working at Motown and working with some other labels out on the West Coast. We produced High Energy. A lot of people should remember that group. A gentleman by the name of Troy Laws is my best friend and my partner, and he's out in Vegas right now. And we produced a record on Linda Howard, who was one of the lead singers there, and of course she passed away in 2013, and we had some good success with her, but of course because of her going to the Lord, unfortunately we couldn't promote it no more. My point is that we have a record label, we have a couple of record collectives on the internet through Mellow City Records, which is my company, and we created another company called Dayton Soul Rhythm Records. And I'm really excited about that because what we want to do, we want to answer that call. We want to come back to Dayton, and which we have done already, and we want to produce local artists. But one of the things that I've learned, because I have a couple of degrees in business, is that you have to understand the business. And that's where the failure and the downfall came in, unbeknownst to a lot of these artists that came out. They didn't understand publishing, they didn't understand the record contracts. So quite naturally, they may have had a hit record, they may have been lucky to get that $1 million, but they blew it because they didn't understand. Fast forward, 25, 30 years later, it's a different ball game. And if you don't understand neighboring rights, if you don't understand distribution, because it's left up to the artists now. So what we're hoping to do is to take that business acumen that we've acquired over the years and transcend that here locally and try to help those artists, because big record labels aren't doing it anymore. You have to be a Brittni Spears, you have to be a Mural-Morris if you're going to be successful. But there's a lot of hometown talent here, and that's why I aptly named the company Dayton Soul Rhythm Records. We just came out with a record called Play Me Some Motown, which was written by my good friend Troy Laws. And we have one of the high energy ladies singing lead, so we're very excited about that. And so I just wanted to say that I'm hoping to link up with Mr. Webb. He doesn't know this yet, but I've been trying to get together with him. And I met Mr. Howard the other day. And of course, Stan the Man has been very helpful with doing our advertisements on the radio. So I'm hoping to put together a advisory board or something that would help us push this label out, because what you said is true. Dayton has been on the map, and I also was in the Navy too, and when I was in Vietnam, it was a lot of people saying that, you know, the groups were from different areas, and I didn't correct them like you did, but I knew better because I came from here, you know. So that being said, I'm hoping to integrate within the community and try to make some things happen, and I'm going to avail myself to do that. And I'm just so happy to be here with my wife and my children. We live up in Cuba Heights. And coming from California, you know, it's a culture shock. It's a major culture shock. But because I grew up here in the 70s on this campus, this exact campus in Founders Hall, it was easy for me to segue my family into this, you know. So we're happily settled down now after 2 years. And I'm ready to get started, ready to get in the community, try to make some things happen. And I just wanted to offer that.
Thank you so much. The cost of living is better here.
Yes, it is.
Okay, we're going to transition to our next